Good morning to everyone. Assalamualaikum. So this today we'll be discussing about cascading and preventing and countering violent extremism. Once again, I am your friend, your instructor, and brother Juars Alvarez from the Order of the Discount Carmelite Secular. I attended one seminar about this cascading and preventing and countering violent extremism with the project of the Masa Masid. I think you're familiar with this project. And this project focused on the four pillars: the corruption, the illegal drugs, as well as criminality. But most of all, the most important thing is the violent extremism, which is this is our subject today: preventing and countering the violent extremism. So this will be our topic. So we have to discuss this one. So what's in the mind of the extremist? It is said that it's good to be extreme, but to be violent, that's another story. So, what do you think? What's in the mind of the extremist? Of course, first, they have their own belief. The belief of what? It depends to their belief. Because history would tell us that because of this belief, there are those who are extreme. Then, of course, with the ideology. And what about this ideology? Niisip nila. And of course, they are expecting a reward. So if you look at this, the Venn diagram, they are interconnected. They are interrelated. Kaya nga, to be extreme, you have these three factors: your ideology, your belief, and you're expecting a reward. And what about this reward? Of course, it's all about money. That's why we have a lot of extremists, especially not only in the Philippines, but this is throughout the world. And of course, they are not afraid. Why they are not afraid? Because once again, of the ideology and of the belief, and of course, the reward. And what about the reward? If you can kill, of course, you will go to heaven. Salubungin ka daw ng mga virgin if you can kill those who are not with them. Especially the infidels. Okay? Na hindi naaayon sa kanila, hindi sumusuko, hindi nag-submit to the will of Allah. Then, kung mapatay nila yung hindi sa kanila, so therefore, they will be rewarded. So, yun. That's in their mind of this extremist. What about us? And I think you have your own idea. You can react on this, about this issue now. This is still a relevant issue in our land. Not only in our land, but as well as throughout the world. So we move on. You know ISIS? A month earlier, before the U.S. air strikes began in Syria in support of the People's Defense Units, at the stage of Kobane, ISIS spokesperson, you are familiar with this, Abu Mohammed al-Aldani, had issued a kind of draft notice for an invisible army of mujahideen, instructing them to strike at the disbelievers without leaving their hometowns and risking the fraught journey into Caliphate country. So this was the idea of this Abu Muhammad al-Addani. What about this invisible army, the Mujahideen? Kaya nga ini-instruct niya na those who are disbelievers, those who are against us, those who are with that's not belong to us, so we have to kill. Okay? If you are not able to find an either or a bullet, then single out the disbelieving American, Frenchman, or any of their allies, he'd said in the communique released on September 21, 2014. Ano pang dagdag niya? smash his head with a rock, or slaughter him with a knife, or run over him with your car, or throw him down from the high place, or choke him, or poison him. So ganon katindi. Very extreme yung pag-iisip sa leader na ito. Very extreme. If you are not with us, so therefore you are against us. So you will be killed. That's why that's a violent extremist. An example, this leader by the name of Abu Muhammad al-Abdani. Adnani. Okay? That's the inside of the army of terror. You look at this drawing. You know that Norway is one of the peaceful, I think now, the second peaceful countries in the world. Norway. You look at that place. But last July 22, 2021, particularly in Oslo, 8 people was killed because of this man by the name of Andre Breivik. Andre Breivik, according to the story, mabait itong taong ito. But nagiging extreme. Then in the Otoya Island, he also killed 69 people and 209 injured because of the bomb na ginawa niya at pinatay yung mga civilians doon. So from the peaceful country that Norway, so may isa doon na nagiging extreme. Not only, sabi ko nga, it's good to be extreme, but to be violent, that's really very, very bad. Like what happened to this Andre Breivik. Okay? That's in Norway. That's in the international context. And you are familiar with this, the Twin Towers attack, the 9/11? Familiar? Sino yung nag-atake? Ito yung mga big time, mga engineers, in-attack yung World Trade Center. Next. The Paris terror attack. Still remember? I think you're still familiar with that. Kayo, especially you, mga men in uniform. You know with that very well. What about the terrorist attack in Indonesia? You're also familiar with that. Daming namatay din in Indonesia. Now, what about this history of ISIS? I think from your readings, from your lecture, you already know the history of this ISIS. Started in Africa, then dumadami yan sila. Dumadami yan siya. Total submission to the will of God. If you are not with us, so you'll be killed. So, dapat sundin ninyo kami. Yun yung gusto nila. And you look at that flag. Anong nakasulat sa flag? I think mabasa ninyo yan. Those who are Islamic believers, that you have to believe that there's only one God. You have to submit. Okay, the Shahada, yun yung palaging pinoprofess nila. One of the pillars of Islam, the Shahada. Okay? Believe in one God. Submit the will to God. And Muhammad is his prophet. So, yun yung palaging nagiging extreme sila dyan. Okay? And surely, you can react on this, but you are familiar with this and you know bakit nagkaganon. Kaya nga, there are a lot of theories. Gawa yan ng Amerika. Ganito yan. Daming mga teorya dyan. Okay? But what is important here na nagiging extreme. Not only extreme, but nagiging violent yung mga taong yon. Remember, because of the ideology, because of the belief, and because of the reward. Take note on the 3 factors. Ideology, that's why it is said na you cannot kill an ideology. May nagsasabing isang speaker naman, you cannot kill an ideology. Mawala naman yung tao, but the ideology still remains. Okay? Mag-remain yung ideology. Ang gagawin yan, you can kill ideology, dapat with higher ideology para mawala yan. But as of the moment, kahit na wala na itong mga terrorist, nandyan pa yan. Alam ninyo yan. Dito sa atin sa Mindanao, marami yan. Nandyan pa rin yan. Naglipana pa rin yan sila. Okay? Siguro ngayon, padami yan ngayon. Naghintay lang yan ng panahon kung kailan naman sila makastrike. Kala natin, wala na, nandyan pa rin because of that ideology, because of that belief, and because of that reward. Okay? The reward, of course, that includes the financial reward. Not only those reward in paradise, but that includes the financial reward. So remember with that. So hindi na tayo lalayo. Dito na tayo in our context in the Philippines. Pagbomba sa ferry, lahat na yan, those are the images of the terroristic attack or the bombings in our country everywhere. Especially here in our land, Mindanao. Dami yan. Noon yan, pero ngayon, dami pa rin yan. Now, let's talk about check the reality. Let's face it, there are many more citizens out there than police officers. And the police can't be anywhere at all time. We as civilians, we know also that one. At kayo, alam ninyo yan. That's the reality in our own vicinity. Kaya nga, 1 police is to 5,000. That's the ratio, I think. Or to 3,000. Alam niyo yung ratio na yan. So, paano mabantayan? That's why the reality would tell us na talagang konti lang kayo. Okay? At dadaming mga civilian that anytime, anywhere, ang police, hindi mo palagi ang ano. Kaya nga, hindi din kayo masisisi kasi konti lang talaga kayo. And that's the reality. But, anong gagawin? Another, sinasabi dito, law enforcement organization need to better utilize citizens as a proactive resource in combating terrorism instead of just asking the citizens to report the suspicious actively. So ito kayo mga police officers, it is your obligation. It is your obligation. Not only sabihan yung mga tao, i-report kay may mga suspicious activities, but as the law enforcement organization, utilize the citizen as a proactive resource in combating terrorism. Ang daming paraan. Educate them, give them seminars. Kaya nga, I hope na alam ko na seminar niyo ito, but this is a sort of review na sana pag after you graduate, siguro may apply ninyo ito, go to your community, educate those people so that they will become a proactive resource, okay, in preventing, in combating the so-called terrorism. I think that's very clear to all of us. Okay ba mga sirs, mga moms? Okay? Another thing, the community should be trained and educated on. Yun na yung trabaho din ninyo na i-educate ninyo what to look for. Mga suspicious things, suspicious people. Pag may nakita, anong gagawin nila? What to do? Then, what not to do and who to call. Kaya nga, I'm happy na nung nagiging issue ito, kasagsagan sa issue ng violent extremism, daming mga cell number naglipana ng mga police, precinct, police station, na kung may mga ganot, may mga nakita kayo, anong gagawin nyo, kami ang tawagan. Hindi kahit sino lang, baka matawagan ninyo yung hindi dapat matawagan. Kaya nga mag-spread yung malaman agad nila, baka masunog, sabi nga. Okay, so once again, reality check. Since there are a lot of civilians, then konti lang kayo mga police officers, so there is a need for you to train and educate on what to look for, what to do, and what not to do, and who to call, especially to us civilians. That's a challenge to all of you. And that's also a challenge to all of us civilians to cooperate with you as our protector. Sana malinaw yon. So let's take for example in an incident transpired in Bohol. I think you are familiar with this in Bohol. It happened on 2017. So take note, this brief Bohol incident. The intelligence community warned the government forces in Western Visayas the possible terrorist attack due to ASEAN to be held in Bohol. So, tingnan nyo ha. May warning na sa mga intelligence group. Then, on April 11, 2017, the government forces encountered around 11 terrorists in Inabanga, Bohol, based on the reports from local residents. Then, reported 3 PAMS boats not endemic to the area. Tingnan niyo ito, the government forces encountered 11 terrorists in Bohol based on the report. So, you look at now the residents. Sila na mismong nagre-report. Hindi man to taga-amin, iba man tong mga tao man ito. Bakit may mga baril? Hindi man kami ganito. Bakit ibang lingwahe nila? So, yan. At least ang mga tao ang alert doon. Then, encounter resulted in neutralization of the terrorists. So, at least, patay ang 4 na terorista. Then, in the succeeding days, April 24, May 4, and May 15, succeeding operations led the death of all Abu Sayyaf group terrorists. So, bakit? Dahil alerto ang residente na bahala ang residente, nagre-report ang residente sa inyong mga kapulisan. So, yun yung kagandahan. So, a non-traditional terrorism target such as Inabanga, Bohol was almost the scene of the major attack terrorists, but the whereabouts of terrorists made known by the local community paved the way for the immediate government response. Kaya nga, pasalamat sa mga residente. And because of that, may response agad ang mga pulis. So, nag-response agad. So, therefore, hindi lumala at hindi maraming nabiktima sa plano na terrorist attack in Bohol. Then, lesson learned. Shown how a vigilant community volunteering information can significantly help law enforcers in effective neutralizing a handful of ASD that set foot on the island. So, thank you to the community, the vigilant community. Sila na talagang nagsasabi, nag-volunteer to give the information to the men in uniform. That's why, what happened, hindi natuloy yung balak. Kasi agad, nasugpo yung balak ng mga terrorists. So, na-neutralize sila lahat because of the community. That's a lesson learned. Another lesson learned in Marawi Seeds. Take note on this. Okay? The residents of Marawi are partly to blame for their failure to report to the authorities possibly years of preparation by the terrorists in a long battle. Alam natin yun. That's why yung nangyari, blame the government, but you have to blame not the government, but the residents in itself. Kinakanlong nila kasi paryente nila. Tama ba? Alam natin yung nonopulbos ngayon na di ba? May mga tunnel, bawat bahay, kita ang lalaki, tag 5 floors, 4th floor, mga lalaking building. Kaya nga, ilang araw, buwan, ang ginawa ng mga sundalo sa mga pulis. Hindi naubos kasi nandoon sa mga tunnel. And the tunnel is interconnected to the different houses. Doon sila sa ilalim. So, yun ang malaking problema. Sinong i-blame? The residente. Ngayon, isisi sa government, dapat isisi sa kanila. Kaya nga marami ding nagre-react about the situation in Marawi. Okay? So, lesson learned yan. Kung nag-report lang sana ng mga residente, may ibang kilos dito, naggumagawa sila dito, nagkumpanya sila dito ng kabataan, ganito, iba ng kinikilos mga anak namin. So, ngayon, ang nangyari ang di dapat mangyari. Sinong kawawa, bumalik sa kanila dahil kinakanlong nila ang mga terorista. But, well, until today, hindi pa nagtatapos, mayroon pa rin, alam ninyo yan. And maybe some of them are your relatives. Tama ba? Relatives ninyo yung iba. Nandoon sila sa extreme na punta. Kaya nga, that's also a challenge to all of us, to all of you, especially you men in uniform, our protector. That's why, according to your idol, I felt betrayed. Talagang nasaktan ako. Masama ang loob ko kasi hindi naman ninyo sinabi na malakas na ang pasok ng maute. Kaya ang samang loob niya. Alam nyo, may dugo akong maranaw. Di may dagdag pa yan. Kaya nga, galit ako. Masama ang loob ko sa inyo. Bakit hindi kayo nag-report? So ngayon, isisi ninyo sa akin. That's the point there. So may punto din ang ating Pangulo during those times sa Marawi Siege. Then the horrors of terrorism. Take note on this. September 2, 2016, kahit ngayon medyo ilang taon na, from 16, ngayon is 2021, nanatili pa rin yung horrors of terrorism in the bombings at night market in Davao City. Killed at least 14 people and injured more than 60. Kaya ang isa doon na namatay, asawa ng kasama ko dito sa Cotabato State University. Kawawa. Okay, nagpamassage lang sila doon, pero because of the terroristic attack, the horror of terrorism, namatay na walang kalaban-laban. That's the point there. Then, another horror of terrorism, the beheadings. On June 19, 2001, Guillermo Sobero, an American citizen, kidnapped from the DOS Falma Resort, was the first foreigner beheaded by the Abu Sayyaf. Alam niyo yan. Okay, familiar kayo dyan. Then another beheadings, July 11, 2007, a Philippine truckload of the Philippine Marines was ambushed in the Abu Sayyaf in Basilan. After the firefight, at least 10 of the 14 dead Marines recovered from were found beheaded. So ganon katindi, ganon karumal-dumal ang ginawa nila. Pagputol ng liig. At alaman natin may mga video din yan naglipara during those times. Pag pinutol, sigaw agad, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Diba ang sakit, ginamit pa ang Panginoon that the Lord is great. Kaya nga may napatay sila. Kaya nga kung tayong mag-isip ng matino, hindi dapat ganon. Using the name of the Lord, that the Lord is great, then pinatay mo yung kapwa mo. Because of that, once again, ideology, because of the belief, and because of the reward. That's in the mind of the terrorist extremists or the extremists. So take note on that. Another beheadings, September 21, 2015, an English-born Canadian, Robert Hall, was kidnapped and Mr. Hall was later beheaded in Hulu on June 13, 2016. So pinaabot pa ng matagal-tagal. Pero yan, nasa picture, talagang pinugutan. Okay? At naglipa na yan during those times. Tingnan nyo sa YouTube, nandyan pa rin yan. At you look at the flag, the black flag. Anong nakusulat yan? The Shahada, the first pillar of Islam. Okay? That there is only one God and Prophet Muhammad is His messenger. So you have to submit His will. So yun, ganun sila ka-extreme. Kaya nga maraming nagre-react dyan. Hindi yan gawain ng tao. Okay? Hindi yan gawain ng tao. Once again, balik tayo doon because of the ideology, because of the belief, and because of the reward. Okay? Another thing, on February 27, German tourist Georgian Kantner was also beheaded by the Abu Sayyaf. He and his companion Sabin Mers were abducted from his yacht off in Malaysia, Sabah State in November 2016. Yan. Pinatay din, pinutulan din ng liig. So ito yon, the ISIS in Marawi, yan. Patay na din yan sila. The Maute Brothers. Ulitin ko, surely, yung iba sa inyo, relative ninyo yung mga taong yan. Mga big time. May mga kaya, educated, But because of the extremist, yung extreme, naging violent extremist sila, naging terrorist sila. So therefore, yan. But once again, until today, because of that ideology, because of that belief in their word, nandyan pa rin yan ha. Nandyan pa rin yan. Hindi yan sila, nawala man yan sila, but the ideology and yung tatlong sinabi ko, nandyan pa rin yan. Hindi yan nawawala. You take note on that. Then hundreds of thousands displaced families. This is the horror of terrorism in the Marawi Seeds. Kaya nga ngayon, naging politika din kasi yan until today. Billions of donations na saan na? Nawala na. May bahay ba? Hindi pa nagkabahay yung iba. Zero ground pa rin yung the Marawi City. Okay? At alam ninyo yan. Yung taga doon, alam ninyo yan. Wala pa rin nangyari. Of course, may relocation sila. Hindi pa rin tapos. Yung iba, wala pa rin mga bahay. Aalis na lang si Duterte. But once again, ulit-ulitin ko, you cannot blame the government. They have to blame themselves. Bakit kinanlong nila ang mga terorista? Kahit na paryente man yun, pero alam nila na may iba na pananaw na hindi nararapat na padamihin. Pero pinadami nila. Okay? So, millions worth of properties destroyed. Lahat. Dami. The cathedral, the masjid, the religious places, wala na. That's the horror of terrorism. Yan. Yan. Properties wala. Nagiging zero yan sila. Yan. Lalaking building, but sa baba dyan, may tunnel. Kaya nga hindi agad-agad naubos. Kaya nga millions worth of properties destroyed. Then innocent civilians also killed. Daming mga civilians. But not only civilians, but ang kabaro ninyo, the police officers, as well as the military. Kawawa din kayo. Victim kayo of this horror of terrorism. And I think, alam ko yung iba nandoon, nakaranas kayo, yung nag-clearing kayo. Kasi may mga estudyante akong nag-clearing. Ang iba sa inyo, surely, kasali doon pag-clearing. Kaya ang dami-dami ng issue. Okay? Nasaan ang mga pera doon? Wala naman silang bangko, ganito, ganyan. Nawala ang mga baril nila, saan na? Pero my mouth is sealed. Kayo lang ding nakakaalam dyan, mga moms at saka mga sirs. Am I right? Okay? Kayong nakakaalam niyan. So, the innocent civilians, talagang kawawa. Ayan. Karumal-dumal, karimari-marim, hindi makataong ginawa sa mga extremist, sa mga violent extremist, sa mga terrorist. Yan. Ang sakit isipin, ang sakit, talagang masakit. Parang hindi sila tao. Yan. Now, what's the purpose? Bakit ganon? Kinanlong nila because of this intention. A caliphate is an Islamic state. Gawing caliphate yung Marawi. Kasi the Islamic city man daw. It's led by a caliph. A caliph is a successor who is a political and religious leader and who is a successor to the Islamic Prophet Muhammad. His power and authority is absolute. So, yun yung plano. Kung hindi yun nasugpo ng government, kung natuloy yun, lalakas yun. Grabing suporta. Okay? Kaya nga may caliphate na. Ulit-ulitin, caliph is the successor of Prophet Muhammad. Diba? May bago, nung namatay si Prophet Muhammad, may mga successor men siya. Umar, Abu Bakar, diba? I think there are 5 successors. So ngayon, itong caliphate na gustong itayo naman doon para may another successor naman. Maging a political as well, magiging political as well as religious leader. And that was the intention. Kaya nga, yung naniwala ding mga tao doon sa Marawi, kinakanlong nila. Once again, balik tayo sa sinabi ko, because of ideology, because of the belief as well as the reward. Okay? Now, would I want to live in a caliphate? That's a question. Doesn't sound great so far. According to the reports, ISIS has been crucifying people, and that's true. That's the reality. Especially you if you are not with them. Kawawa. Yun nga sa Marawi, di ba napansin ninyo? Ang mga Kristiyano nagkunwari na lang din na Muslim. Of course, mga Kristiyano doon, alam ng binil. They know the 5 pillars and they can recite the first pillar of Islam. So pag yun ang alam, hindi sila pinapatay. Kasi talagang papatayin ka. Okay, if you are not with them. And also, caliphates operates under the Sharia law. Kaya masakit din ito. Okay? Women are discouraged to leave the home unless necessary, and they must be accompanied. Amputations are the punishment of forced stealing. Also, no dissent, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. Nakakaano, no? Pero ang daming droga pala doon, yung nandoon, during the clearing operation ninyo, naglipana palang droga doon. Pero sabi nga lang dito, bawal ang droga, pero nandoon. Bawal ang alcohol, cigarette. Kaya nga kayo man din sa haram-haram, sige haram. Sabi ko nga, kung may sobra pa sa haram, kayo yon. Kapag nandyan yung droga, nandyan yung alcohol, nandyan yung sigarilyo. Kaya nga yung iba ang sisihin, dapat wala ng factory ng alcohol, wala ng factory para walang gagamit. Pag sure. Okay? So that's the point there. So ang sakit nga. Ulitin ko, caliphate operates under the Sharia law. Pero iba nga, kasi this is an ideology. Extreme ang dating. O talagang extreme, hindi lang dating, extreme ang ginagawa nila. Kaya nga, ulitin ko, papatayin ka if you are not with them. Okay? Is there a chance I may end up living in a caliphate? Kung natuloy yun, of course. Sabi nga, it depends on where you live. If we let them enter into our community, the possibilities that we may end up in caliphate is very high. Kaya from that time, nung sa Marawi, dito sa Cotabato, daming takot. Kasi magtayo, attack naman kasi may caliphate. Kaya nga, marami nagbabantay na. Kasi lusubin naman. Okay? So, that's the point there. So, is there a chance that I may end up living caliphate? Yes, there is. It depends to the place. Kung ginusto din ng mga tao. Okay? Another thing. In the plan and action to prevent this violent extremism, there are 7 priorities. Take note on the 7 priorities. Dialogue and conflict prevention, strengthening good governance, human rights, and the rule of law. Okay, especially itong lahat din yung 7 priority area, kung ma-practice lang sana ito, talagang itong violent extremism, masugpo ito. Especially dialogue, conflict prevention. May problema kasi din dyan. Strengthening good governance, human rights, and the rule of law. May problema din tayo dyan. Okay. Engaging communities. May problema ba tayo? Yes, mayroon. Yung iba takot. Okay. Empowering the youth. Kaya nga, dapat kailangan kayo in your community, saan man kayo na-assign, please empower the youth. Okay, may mga project, may mga programan kayo. Kasi if you empower them in a nice way, in a good way, not to the extreme, talagang may magagawa yan sila. Then gender equality and empowering women, it's all good also to empower women. Okay? Hindi yung women as second-class citizen. Okay? Dapat empower yung women. Kaya nga sa mga ISIS, 'di ba, yung mga sniper sa Zamboanga Siege, sa Marawi Siege, 'di ba, mga babae? At least na-empower din nila mga babae, no? Then there is also a need, especially education, skill development, and employment facilitation. Kasi this is really the problem in our country. Free education na nga. pero hindi pa man din na-avail sa lahat. Kung na-avail man, after that, saan ang trabaho? K-12. Kaya nagka-problema pa rin din. Here comes an ideology, an extremist. Huwag kayong mag-alala, may reward kayo. Ito, bigyan ko kayo ng 50,000, 30,000. May ano pa, test mission pa. Dapat punta ka din sa lugar. Dapat may ganito. So, another reward yan. And aside from that, kung mamatay ka, you'll go to paradise. Ayun, yung reward. Kung ikaw wala kang pinag-aralan, kung ikaw wala kang trabaho, ang bilis mo ma-recruit. Okay? Then, strategic communication and the internet and the social media, ayon. The ISIS also using the social media. Talagang sinisensationalize nila yon by the means of social media. And they have a support, of course. Pera, saan galing yung support? Kaya nga, ang daming mga heresies, ang daming mga nagsasabi, magbantay kayo sa mga NGO, baka doon yun pinapalusot. And we do not know. Okay? Kaya bakit mandaming pera? But once again, these are the plan of actions to prevent violent extremism. The dialogue, once again, and conflict prevention, strengthening good governance, human rights and the rule of law, engaging communities, empowering youth, gender equality, and empowering women, education, skill development, and employment facilitation, strategic communications, the internet, as well as the social media. So do not forget this, especially in order to prevent the so-called violent extremism. So there are phases of radicalization. Bakit? Tingnan niyo yung bata dyan. Tingnan niyo yung tao dyan. Yung young man dyan. Nahati siya. The influence of the family and influence outside. But the outside influence, medyo malakas. Kaya nga, the role of the family na dapat palakasin yung influence, hindi yung sa labas. Okay? Pero ang problema, pag hindi educated yung bata, that's the point there. So the first phase, tingnan ito. Una, agitation. Pag-recruit pa lang, alam mo bakit naghirap ka dahil ang gobyerno hindi kayo tinutulungan. Bakit naghirap ka dahil ganito ang daming karahasan na nangyari, ang inhustisya. Then, lahat kayo, kawawa kayong kabataan, kawawa. Napansin ba ninyo bakit naghirap kayo kung ikaw, isang bata? Diba? Na-agitate. Parang, pinapainit ka. Then, right after that, the second phase, peer pressure, the belongingness, then gratification. Wow, marami pala kaming nakasama. That's why here in my institution, ang dami ding nagsishare sa akin. You know, brother, malapit na sana akong nadala. Buti na lang natulungan pa ako na aking ina. Kasi ganito ang dami na palagi kayong nagmi-meet dito. Then pag dumadami kami, hindi kami papahalata, kanya-kanya na kami. Okay? Kuha because of that peer pressure. Sama ka doon, mahirap tayo. Naalala yun sa bombings? May dalawa kami mga estudyante dito na hinuli. Ewan kung saan na sila ngayon. Kasi nakita mo sila doon sa, alam mo ng Davao, high-tech ang mga kamera nila doon. So nakita. So wala tayong magawa. Yung dalawa, mga estudyante ko pa dito sa Polytechnic. Because of that peer pressure. And they feel that they belong to that group. Okay? Then right after that, papasok the next phase is indoctrination. Capability building, personal assurance. Dito na indoctrination na. Bigyan ka na ng yung sinasabing reward. Tapos bigyan ka ng baril. Huwag kayong mag-alala kasi pamilya ninyo makasali pa. For how many generation? Kung anumang mangyari because you are mujahideen. So yan, na-indoctrinize na. So pag na-indoctrinize na, doon na papasok na next stage yung may action na. The violent extremist. The action, the sacrifice, and personal fulfillment. Di ba? Alam na natin yun. May test mission yan. Yun nga sa Takurong, when I was there. Kasi taga-Takurong man yung asawa ko. Every time magsisimba kami, talagang grabing mga pulis, grabing mga sala nagbabantay. Kasi one time, buti na lang, inatak aatakin sana yung simbahan. Kasi yun yung walang kalaban-laban man itong mga duwag na extremist ang pinupuntahan. Okay, buti na lang yung mga bomber, suicide bomber, I think narinig niyo yan, alam niyo yan. Nung pumutok yung bomba at sila yung dalawa patay, yung nakamotor man yun. At maraming nangyaring ganun ha. Pupunta sa mga civilian, pupunta sa walang kalaban-laban kasi test mission nila. Kaya nga action, sacrifice, personal fulfillment. Kung nagtagumpay ka, sigaw agad, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Diba ang sakit? Using the name of the great God. That's really the problem of this violent extremist. And you know that one. And you know that one. Okay? Now, the factors of radicalization. Tingnan ninyo. In the center, yun yung young man. Then, sa outside naman, may enabling factors na tawag. Sa inside, the integral factors. So, you look at these integral factors. Minsan, dyan din, nagkalabo-labo yan. You look at that, the diagram, they are interconnected yung integral factors. Halimbawa, sa family. Pag hindi klaro yung pamilya, kung ikaw, isang bata o kabataan, what will happen? Madali kang madala. Then, of course, another is media. Lahat ngayon, alam yan. Ang bilis. Okay? Then, the peer pressure. Sumama yung kapitbahay, sumama yung kaibigan, so therefore, sama din ako. Then, in the masjid, kaya nga, one of the seminars that I attended, si Habilon, ang galing daw yun, mag-sermon. Right after the sermon, na doon yung young people lumalapit sa kanya, indoctrinize. Nangyari sa masjid. Sa school, sa madrasa, nangyayari ding recruitment. Yun dapat sana, the integral factors, yun sanang malaking na idudulot na kagandahan sana sa isang bata. Pero ang problema, nagiging extreme ang bata kasi may mga ideologies na nagiging extreme kung saan doon ino-indoctrinize ang isang youth. So tuloy, nagka-problema. Then, the enabling factors outside. Sa labas naman, you look at the security institutions at kasali kayo dyan. Especially kayo. Kasi you are our protector. Kaya kung sinasabi yun, tingnan yun, mga kalaban natin yun. Yung naka-uniform na yan. Kaya nga, sinabihan ko yung mga paryente ko na men in uniform, kagaya sa inyo, mga pamangkin ko, mga pinsan ko, huwag kayo, punta kayo sa Cotabato, huwag kayo magpahambog doon na dala baril, sige kayo uniform. And why? Kasi mainit yan sa mga mata, especially the extremist. Okay? Baka makaubo kayo. Hindi lang makaubo, baka because you are not with them, so therefore patayin ka. Then, the governance institution. Wala klaro ang gobyerno natin, so therefore, sali kayo dito. Then, what about the development institution? Tingnan nyo, ang hirap natin. Kaya nga, hindi tayo naabot ng mga biyaya. Ang mga biyaya sa Maynila lang, dito sa Mindanao. Tingnan nyo ang ating lugar. Pero pag tingnan din ating lugar, di ba minsan nakakainggit? BARM. Kaya nga ako, umaasa pa rin ako sa BARM. Kasi para masolusyonan itong mga extremists. Itong BARM natin, sana may makikita na tayo sa extension. When you talk about development. Kasi pag may development, of course, may peace din. Kaya nga, peace and development, di talaga yan pwedeng magkahiwalay. Kung okay yung development, may peace na, so wala nang manggulo dyan at wala nang ma-recruit sila. Kasi may trabaho na, may makain na, na-educate na. Kaya nga, enabling factor sana outside. As well as inside, malaki sanang maitutulong. Pero pag nagkalabo-labo yan, the internal as well as the enabling factors, the outside, ang problema talaga yan, magiging extreme, magiging radical yung isang bata. I think that's clear to all of us. Okay? Now, winning the hearts and mind. How to win the hearts and mind of those terrorists, of those extremists. Kaya? Kaya yan. Then, the family has a big role, okay, in preventing and countering violent extremism. May mga strategic recommendation. Take note. Strengthening family-based social network. So, ito yung ganda sana. Pamilya to pamilya. Yung the networking, the family. Dapat may strengthen yan. Kasi nandoon yun sa integral factors. Naalala niyo yun? Then, empowering family members to shape existing cultural narratives. Ayan, dapat. Alam nyo, kasi ganito man tayo. Kaming mga Cebuano, kami yun ganito. Kaming mga ganito, dapat ganito. Yun ang ganda sana, i-empower ang pamilya, especially in shaping the existing cultural narratives. Yung ang gandahan ba, ipakita, hindi yung kasamaan, mga injustices. Okay? Then, reduce social isolation of the family. Ano tong social isolation of the family? Especially yung dysfunctional family, yung mga bata na pabayaan kasi dahil din sa mga magulang. So, yan ang problema. Then, tailor fit the family level interventions to local culture. So, yan. Para maging makabuluhan siya sa community, so dapat tailor fit, parang tagpiin, tahiin in the family level intervention, especially to the local cultures. Hindi yung i-introduce yung ibang kultura at saka ibang paniniwala. Then, make family-oriented the preventing and countering violent extremism intervention. Multifaceted and long-term, flexible, and tolerant of short-term failures. So, dapat lahat ng pamilya alam din ito. Kaya nga, sabi ko na nga, yung iba na daanan itong seminar na ito, this is just, sabi ko, a sort of review, okay, in this course, in this subject, na nare-review kayo at surely dinaanan, na seminar rin kayo, nakalimutan din ninyo. Kaya ang pamilya talaga malaking papel na ginagampanan para ma-prevent at saka ma-counter yung violent extremism. Okay? Then, the present challenges to confront. Take note on this. The returning foreign fighters. Challenge yun. Kasi yung iba, train man yun overseas. Damaote, galing yun din yun sa labas yun. Kaya nga ang galing nila. Okay? Kaya nga sabi nga, dapat mga sundalo, mga pulis, dapat may training din sila sa urban warfare. Kasi ang alam nila doon lang sa kasulok-sulukan, kabundok-bundukan. Ngayon sa urban, sa city. Di nga. Kasali kayo ha. That's a challenge. Take note on that. That's a challenge. Because yung the foreign fighters ang galing, they were trained. Okay? How? Especially sa urban areas. Then, radicalized overseas Filipino workers. Mayroon na. The radicalized overseas Filipino workers because of the ideology na kuhaan sa labas, nagiging radical sila. Pagdating dito, iba ng pananaw. Kami doon sa Saudi ganito. Kami doon sa Turkey ganito. Kami doon. Okay? So that's the problem. Then another challenge to confront itong the term balik Islam. And some of you I know, balik Islam. Okay, you embrace Islam from Christianity, then you embrace Islam. Personally, I don't have any problem with that. Okay? It's up to you. That's your right to embrace another religion. But if you become an extremist, ang dami kong mga pamangkin, madami kong mga paryente, mga uncle na nag-embrace ng Islam. Ang hindi ko lang nagustuhan talagang nagiging extreme. One time, sa Pikit, in-invite kami, kasal ng pinsan ko. Ang isa kong pinsan, ustadsman. Anong ginagawa after the kasal, diba, mga talk man yan. Nagsalita, binanatan kaming Katoliko. Sabi ko, bastos itong pinsan ko. Kasi yan lang daw ang tama, ganito, lahat mag-embrace na. Sabi ko, naloka, umalis na lang ako at hindi nagpaalam. Sabi ko, hindi na ako babalik doon because of this extreme na radicalize. Ha? Take note on this, ha? Kaya nga, personally, ako as peace educator, I don't have any problem. You embrace Islam. Especially kayong nag-embrace ng Islam. No problem with that, with me. But please, do not be radical. But please, do not be an extremist. Yun bang, just nag-embrace ka, you don't have the right to condemn me. Who are you to judge me? Who are you to tell me that my religion is mali? Ikaw lang ang tama. Huy, pag sure. So, yun yung punto dyan. Ha, pag sure. Ha, mga police officers. Tingnan talaga ninyo yan. Ha? Baka, that's really a challenge to all of us. Okay? Kaya nga dito sa amin, alam nila na I am a member of the religious order. I am a brother. Pero may mga kasamahan pa rin ako mga doktor. Yung radical mag-isip. To the point na kahit na sa social media, kahit na friend kami, iba naman ang dating. Magsisend man ng parang sinisermonan ako. Sabi ko, anong klase ito? Hindi pala kita friend. Naging radical ka pala. Kaya nga, what I did is, i-block ko na lang sila para wala samok. So that's the point there. Okay? Kasi thinking na sila lang ang tama. Ha? Marami dyan, marami. Kung kayo man yun, my dear police officers, personally, as your teacher, as peace educator, I'll tell you, no problem with me if you embrace Islam. Pero pag nagiging radical ka, that's the point there. Kaya nga that's a challenge. Kung maka-judge lang, oh, you go to hell, go to hell. Kung may ganun lang. Kasi hindi dapat ganun. Kasi in Islam, malinaw, I know, nag-aral din ako ng Islam. You have to respect. You have to respect. And you don't have the right to condemn other religion. I think that's clear to all of you, my dear police officers. Please respect. That's the bottom line. Okay? Then, another challenge. The youth, especially the internally displaced children. Ito na yun. Ang dali ito ma-recruit. O, tingnan nyo, may karasan. Giran mga sundalo, mga pulis doon. O, anong nangyari? Diba sila? Gusto pala nila ng gulo. So, therefore, ganito. Fight tayo sa kanila. Kung ikaw yon, wala kang pinag-aralan, ikaw isang kabataan, madali kang madala. So, that's a challenge. And you know that one very well. Then, another thing. The social issues. Now, we have a lot. Social issues now, especially now. Election. That's an issue. Especially now. Okay? Kasi malapit ng election. That's really the problem. Lahat nangangako. Lahat ng presidential nangangako. At the end of the day, may problema pa rin. So that's also a challenge. That's one of the social issues. Okay? Do we have a lot? Violent extremism, that's also a social issue. Poverty, that's a social issue. And there are a lot of issues. Okay? That's a challenge to all of us to confront. Then, ito may mga trends and challenges. So, take note. Terrorist groups continuously and freely moves from one place to another. Sabi ko, namatay namang Maute brothers pero nandyan pa rin. Naglipana because, once again, of the ideology, of the belief, and the reward. Then most of the terrorist activities were getting involved by the youths, the universities, and the college students. I think sinaneshare ko na rin sa iyo. I have a lot of students na nagsishare. Buti hindi sila natuloy. Then, recruit students and conceal sleeper cells for future terrorist operation. Another thing is faculty and school administrators, security personnel, and religious supporters are being utilized through proliferate messaging and help the target identification process. So, yun yung challenge. So, hindi lang, may mga kasali pa lang mga faculty. Kagaya sinabi ko sa inyo, may kasamahan ako mga professor na extreme talaga mag-isip. Okay? Extreme talaga mag-isip. May mga administrator din ako mga kakilala na extreme mag-isip. So, that's a challenge. Okay? Now, what about our approaches in countering the violent extremism? Adopt a whole of governance. Kaya dito sa BARM, mayroon tayong tinatawag na moral governance. Kasi yun sanang nagpapaganda. Then, a whole community, inclusive rather than discrimination. Okay? Inclusive. That's why the BARM, according to Kagi Murad, the BARM should not be exclusive, but it should be inclusive to the Moro, to the settlers, to the Christians, as well as to the Lumads. Okay? It should be inclusive in order to avoid that discrimination. Pero minsan, makikita man siguro niyan sa kung saan kayo ma-assign. Mga Cebuano lang talaga, Ilonggo lang talaga. Maranao lang talaga, Maguindanao. Nandoon pa rin yung kanya-kanya. At saka yun, papasok yung discrimination. And I don't know, sa PNP, wala man yata, naranasan man ninyo yan. Okay, and I think hindi naman siguro. Okay? Then, harmonizing diversity. Kaya nga, kaya nga, we are diverse in our culture, in our belief. But in order to harmonize, kailangan talaga ng magkaintindihan. Kaya sabi ko, the bottom line is respect. Bottom line is respect in order to harmonize. Kaya nga, unity in diversity. Okay? We are diverse in our belief, in our culture, but we are united for the sake of peace. Then another thing is promote the culture of peace and sensitivity. And I think you have the subject, sabi, peace and promoting yung sinasabi natin, at saka including yung how to resolve conflict. And I think you still remember that I shared with you the 6 issues of the culture of peace. Okay, then community ownership of programs. So kayo, magawa niyo ito mga pulis in your, kung saan kayo na-assign, the community. You can create a program, the community, basketball ba, friendly games ba, mga kahit na palarong Pinoy ba with the youth. So there are a lot of programs na pwede niyong maisip para ma-counter yung violent extremism. Then in cascading and countering violent extremism, there is a need to raise a level of awareness of the community on the serious threats of terrorism which could strike anytime and anywhere. Take note. Then, with the current police to population ratio, the PNP alone will find it difficult to deal with the evasive nature of the emerging terror threats on the top of the usual criminal acts, peace and order, and the problems of PNP must attend. So, take note on that. Okay? Kasi ang daming mga konti lang man kayo. Then, the vigilance and cooperation of the community as the lessons from the recent Bohol incident would show who would lead a community that is secured and terrorists under evil acts. Ayan. Vigilance and cooperation to the community. That's why sabi ko, there is a need to empower, to educate your community kung saan man ka nasa-assign, especially in preventing violent extremism. Then consider yourself very lucky. And why? That you arrive home safely. That you are not among those who wept for losing a loved ones. That you are still able to attend this class, this topic. Okay? Kung seminar man ito, kasi sa atin parang seminar type man yan, we are still lucky. And especially you as police officers, you are still lucky that you are still here. Okay? Then, what are the effects of terrorism? Alam natin yon. Atmosphere of chaos and fear. The cause of single terrorist incident can have lingering negative economic impact. Alam niyo yan. Like what happened to Marawi. Then, perceptions of the increased risk affect the present, the future investment, and obstruct economic growth. Ayon. Kaya nga maraming mga investors nagdududa at ayaw pupunta dito sa Mindanao because you have a lot of this terrorist group. Okay, that's really the problem. Noon kasi, like Hulo, before Hulo, parang naging trade, kuan yan siya. Wala pang Cebu, wala pang Manila, ang Hulo, sikat na yan sa trading system. Pero what happened now? Because of the problem of security, wala nang mga investors pupunta doon. Kaya nga, economic growth talagang naapektuhan. Okay? Then, why must everybody join to fight against terrorism? Because terrorism, it's everyone's war. Not only sa inyo, para sa amin din. Kaya nga, please, police officers, educate the civilians, empower them, train them. Okay? Tabi, what to do, who to call, at saka anong i-report nila. Then, security is everybody's concern, of course. There are many more citizens out there than police officers, and the police can be everywhere at all times. Sinabi na natin ito kasi konti lang kayo. Kaya nga, there's a need to empower the citizens, the residents, educate them, train those people wherever you are assigned. Then, what can we do to help fight terrorism? Once again, sinasabi, the vigilance as well as cooperation of community. And that's a challenge for you, my dear police officers. Vigilance and cooperation. Kaya mobilize the residents, educate, train them in the community. Then, do you love your family? That's a question. Are you willing to fight for them? Ikaw lang yung makakasagot yan. Are you ready to defend your loved ones? And of course, you would say yes. Lalo na kayo kasi kayo mga pulis. Then, with your support and cooperation, we will save lives, including us civilians and you as our leader police officers. Please, we have to cooperate with each other. Then, with that, thank you very much and I hope you learned something. You are being refreshed kasi sabi ko na natapos ninyo ito at saka parang a refresher course to all of you, and I hope you learn something about preventing, cascading, preventing, and countering violent extremism. So once again, I am your friend, I am Brother Joe Ars Alvarez, member of the Order of the Scouts Carmelite. God bless you all. Thank you. Dalaygon ang Diyos.